Hey guys, this is Isabella Illustrations here and welcome to a new video. Happy New Year. It is officially 2024 and this video was supposed to be posted as my last video of 2023, but sadly things kept getting in the way, but I'm here now and we are going to be doing a my year in books video where I'm just gonna talk to you guys about the books I read this year, what my reading goal was, if I surpassed it, my favorite books, and all that jazz. So let's get to the video. Alright, so first we're going to start with my 2023 reading goal. My goal was to read 10 books, and every year it's the same goal. I typically just put it at 10 every year, and usually I never get to 10. But this year, not only did I get to 10, but I surpassed that amount. And I am so happy and excited to share this accomplishment with you guys. And yeah, so I have my phone here and my Goodreads open because I put all my reading challenges on my Goodreads, which I want to go a little bit on a fangirl rant here about Goodreads. I love Goodreads. All the books that I want to read in the future, I save them to my list so that way I don't forget about them. You can review books, you can keep track of your reading, so you put in the page amount that you're at and it'll give you an accurate percentage of how much you've read of the book and how much you have left, which is amazing. I really find that very motivating, and overall, I just love the app and I highly suggest it. They also recommend you books based on things that you've read in the past, which is a great way to find new books that you will love. So this isn't sponsored, but I love Goodreads, and so I thought it would be great to share it with you guys. So, speaking of surpassing my book goal, I read 15 books this year. 2 of them were short stories, so technically 13 books, but still surpassed the goal. I'm very happy. It says here 15 books, which I'm super happy about. And yeah, I read so many books and I am so happy with my accomplishment. So now I want to get to all the books that I read in 2023, and we're going to start with the Red Queen series, more specifically the second book, which is Glass Sword. I gave this book 3 stars, mainly because I enjoyed it, but I also didn't like the aspect that this whole book was just about the army amassing and stuff like that. I don't really like that kind of stuff, and when that's all a book is that, it was a bit at times, but it wasn't boring, and I say that it's an okay book. I'd say the Red Queen series is still worth a read at least once, but I don't know if I'd read it more than that. But yeah, that's book number 1. Then I read the third book in the Red Queen series, which is King's Cage. This one was definitely better than the second one, but I still gave it a 3, I think a 3 or a 3.5. And I don't know what it was about it. I remember enjoying it. It wasn't as good as the first one, but I definitely think that this is my second favorite book of the series. And overall, I had a fun time reading it. I like when the main character is captured by the villain, so that's why I really enjoyed this book. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it, but it was definitely fun, and I really had a good time with this. So it wasn't a drag, and it was certainly fun. Then the last book, War Storm, in the series really let me down. We didn't really get a happy ending. I mean, the good guys won, but the ship that was supposed to get together, they didn't get together in the end. They didn't get together with any other people, but at the same time, it was kind of a letdown. I mean, these two have had a thing going on all these books, and in the end, they don't end up together. and I was just a bit bummed. Read all this. This was the biggest book I read, apparently, this last year, and it kind of let me down. It wasn't as bad as Glass Sword, but it was just a bit disappointing to me as the final book. But overall, it was okay. I gave this book also 3 stars. It's so weird, my ratings sometimes. But yeah. So those are all the Red Queen books that I read last year. Next, I read a classic spooky tale, which was The Haunting of Hill House. Now, this one was a fun read, but it was also a bit, how do I put this? I don't know. I liked the movie adaptation, The Haunting from 1999, better. It just gave us a lot of answers to questions that the book leaves us with, like a ton of questions and not many answers. And me, I'm a person who likes answers, and I get it that the questions that are left hanging are for people to like debate and discuss over, but I don't know how I felt about that. I do know how I felt. I didn't really enjoy that much. The beginning of the book is a bit slow, but it gets there. Once you get to the haunted house, it's really great. If you love haunted house stories, this is definitely worth a read at least once. And I had some fun with it. And it wasn't as great as I was expecting, but it wasn't awful. I gave it a 3.5, and that's still pretty good. If I give a book a 2 or a 1, then we got problems. But overall, I think that's definitely a classic you have to read if you like spooky tales and spooky homes. Definitely liked reading the book and seeing how the parallels between the show and the movie. Definitely thought that was fun. Now let's get to a reread, which I won't talk too much about these because I've done videos on them. The Shadow and Bone trilogy. Now, I don't have to say much because you guys know how much I love this series. Even though it is very YA and definitely has some flaws after I reread it last year. But I still love them. And they're some of my favorite YA books. And I'm so sad Netflix canceled the show. I'm hoping we can get it saved, but I do not know. That was the saddest news to come out of 2023. But I reread the books after season 2, and I still love them. I gave the first book, I believe, let me check. I gave the first book 4 stars, which I think the first book is my absolute favorite. Nothing can top the first book. It was amazing, and I loved it. The second book, Siege and Storm, was definitely my least favorite, but it's still really good, and I had so much more fun with it the second time around than I did the first time. And I gave this one a 4.5, and I gave this one a 4. So there's a difference. There's a difference. Anyway, then for the third book, which I think was my second favorite in the series, I gave this one a 4.2, which is better than this one, which I gave a 4. But yeah, you guys know how I feel about these. I highly recommend them. They're just my favorite. I love the chosen one kind of trope, and I love the dark versus light aspects. I love that stuff. I love villain, heroine, little, fighting and all that jazz. I eat that stuff up. Next, series that I read, which you guys know, the Cruel Prince trilogy, which everyone was ranting and raving about, so of course I had to read it for the first time, and I loved these. I think I read these after Shadow and Bone, and I picked these up, and I liked them a lot. I had some fun. I really did. I picked these up mainly because of Shadow and Bone and how Leigh Bardugo recommended the book, so I was like, yes, definitely gonna read these. So I definitely had a fun summer just reading one after the other, and it was just so much fun. I gave the first book, let me check my phone. I gave the first book 5 stars. Now, thinking back on it, maybe I should have given it a 4.5, but I think this was definitely one of the best books of the year for me, and I had so much fun. And I love the Fae aspect, even though I usually don't like Fae books. But this one was so much fun, and I really enjoyed the main couple, even though the romance is not a huge part of it, which was kind of disappointing, but I still really liked the back and forth banter that we got with our main couple, and I loved all of the intrigue of court and stuff like that. I eat that stuff up. Yeah, The Wicked King I gave a 4, which it wasn't, I don't know. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't my favorite. But it was still really fun, and I know I'm going to say that about every book, but it was just enjoyable. It wasn't like a hassle to read. And then I have The Queen of Nothing, which I also gave a 4. So overall, the whole series as a whole, pretty positive. I recommend it if you like fantasy stuff, because me, I'm a fantasy girly. I love fantasy and romance and all that stuff. More heavy on the fantasy than the romance, but okay. Next book that I read was very popular on TikTok a while back, which is why I picked it up. And also because of Shadow and Bone. This is The Shadows Between Us, which I had a really great time with. It was a bit slow in certain points, but it wasn't as slow as Hill House was in the beginning. But Hill House wasn't that slow either. It just takes a bit. But overall, I really enjoyed the main couple. I love the whole he can control Shadow, which is Shadow and Bone, ringing any bells? But yeah, he was the Shadow King, and she's trying to marry him, kill him, take his crown or whatever. And in the end, she falls for him, and he falls for her, and it's really sweet. And overall, I had really great time with this. It was enjoyable, definitely worth the read. I might read this again. But yeah, let's see what I gave it. Okay, I gave it a 4-star, which is really good. Yeah. Most books that I love are 4 or 5. So 4 to 5 is like, it's a really good book and you should read it. So I recommend this. It is a bit expensive, but what can you do? Sometimes a good book is worth the extra few dollars. Next, I want to talk about North Queen. This is a series of 3, and this is a new author, Nicola Tyke, and I am in love with her books. This is her debut series, and oh my god, she is amazing. I cannot praise this lady enough. These books are amazing. They're my first new adult, and they are great. There isn't too much spice, but there's just enough for like the beginner reader. It's got fantasy, it's got romance, it's got all of my favorite things. Court intrigue, you have, well, I'm not going to spoil it all for you guys, but I highly recommend that if you love fantasy books, you will love this series. And you should definitely read it and support this new up-and-coming author because she is amazing. And I absolutely loved this book so much. I think I gave it a 5. Yes, I gave it a 5. So, absolutely loved it. Picked up the second book as soon as I was done this. And I'm loving the second book as well. I think the second book is probably going to be also 5. And I've never had that happen in a fantasy series before. So, please go pick up this book. It's really good and you should read it. So the final book that I read last year, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Now this book I gave a 4.5. Not a 5, but I think this was one of my favorite books of the year. My three favorites are mostly, I think Ballad is first, so this one. Then it's North Queen, and then it's The Cruel Prince. So, yeah, I love this book so much that I want to read it again right away. Like most books, after I'm done reading them, I don't want to reread it again that soon, but I really want to reread this again. It was so much fun, and I enjoyed it, and I didn't think I'd ever feel this way about a Hunger Games novel because I never read the other books. I didn't care for the films, but this was the only one where I went to see the film, and I read the book, and I gotta say, a great experience. Some people don't like this book, and that's okay. I can see it's a bit, the main relationship in here is a bit toxic, but, hey, I love villain origin stories, and this one was really fun, and I had a good time. And there's a lot of debate about human nature, and I loved that. And I felt it was really interesting. And there were some characters that really made me angry, and I liked being angry. It was fun, and I enjoyed it. And yeah, those are all the books that I read in 2023. Currently in 2024, I am still reading All Is Found. I don't know if I told you guys about this one, but I got it for Christmas, and I'm about 40% through, and I'm enjoying it. I think I'll give it a 3.5 because the stories are, like, it's an anthology of 10 stories for Frozen's 10th anniversary, and they're okay, the stories. They're not boring, but they're not the most interesting either. They're just good for a Frozen fan who just wants more content of our favorite characters, and yeah. So, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Sorry it's so long. But I had one more thing I wanted to say to you guys. I wanted to ask your opinions. I know I've been doing a lot of book videos recently, and I wanted to know if you guys would like me to do a channel that is just for book videos, or would you guys still like me to do book videos on this channel? So please let me know in the comments, or I don't know, just let me know what your opinion on that is. Would you like me to do a separate channel or not? And I'd be willing to do that. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video, whenever that is. So bye bye.